Algebra 1, Chapter 2, Lesson 3, and we want to start now beginning at looking at the addition of rational numbers. You remember from our discussion of number sets, rational numbers are numbers that include the positives, the negatives, and all the fractions. And so we want to look at how we can add those. We'll look at how they look on a number line and then how we can add them without a number line. So let's look at the ordering them and adding them from a number line first. A number line represents all real numbers. So when you draw a number line, you're actually drawing a graphical picture of all possible real numbers. And we can show addition of rational numbers on a number line. And the way we want to do this is remember a couple things, and we'll talk more about this later in the lesson about a positive sign and a negative sign. The sign of the number actually, if we're talking about a number line, indicates the direction of movement. Meaning if the number is positive from 0, you would move to the right, and if the number is negative, the negative sign indicates that I should move to the left. And it doesn't matter where I am on the number line actually. If I'm at positive 10, if I'm going to do negative 5, I'm going to go left 5. So in order to add numbers on a number line then, it's simply a matter of beginning at the first number and then move the appropriate direction and distance. So the number and sign tells me the direction to go and how far to go. So if we simplify each expression here, if we take a look at the expression 2 plus 6, I start at the first number 2, and then because this is a positive 6, the positive sign tells me I move to the right, and then the number tells me how far. So I'm going to go starting at 2, move 6 to the right, and I end up at 8. So 2 plus 6 on a number line is 8, and 2 plus 6 is 8. Now if we look at 2 plus a negative 6, and we'll deal with this positive negative sign later in the year, again I start at the first number, 2, and then I go to the left 6 because the negative sign tells me to go to the left. So if I start at 2 and then go to the left 6, I end up at negative 4. Therefore 2 plus a negative 6 is negative 4. And then if I have negative 2 plus 6, again I start at the first number, negative 2, and then the positive tells me to move to the right, and the 6 tells me how far, so 6 to the right, and I end up at positive 4. And finally, if I have negative 2 plus a negative 6, again I start at the negative 2, I add negative 6, that means I go to the left, the negative sign tells me to the left, and the 6 tells me how far, 6 units to the left, and I end up at negative 8. And I want you to notice something that we've done here, something that we talked about earlier when we were doing translating English into math, that we always start from the left and move to the right, or we start with, like we're reading a book, we start with the left number, that's where we begin, and then as we read from left to right, we move those directions. So we can have multiple numbers, and then all we do is read it from left to right and move the appropriate distance of each value. So that's what it looks like on a number line. In the next video we'll take a look at how we can do this addition of numbers without using a number line.